Hundreds of people rallied at New York Times Square just ago in support of President Ibrahim Traore after a foiled coup attempt and comments by an American official criticizing beloved leader Ibrahim Traore. Last week, the West African country's military government said it foiled a major plot to overthrow Captain Ibrahim Traore, with the army alleging the plotters were based in neighboring Ivory Coast. These peaceful protesters want only one thing: destabilizers to leave President Ibrahim Traore to lead his people to the transformation they have been longing for. These Africans are curious about comments by General Michael Langley, the head of US military in Africa, accusing Traore during a US Senate committee hearing of using Burkina Faso's gold reserves to benefit the captain at the expense of the population.
In a situation, though, in which the ruling elite of a country is receiving gratuities on the side that inure to the benefit of the strongman leader and not to the populace of the country. Does that sort of corruption and bribery go on with regard to the Belt and Road?
Absolutely, Chairman. I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traore and Burkina Faso, as they know that both, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime.
One protester, Osibi Johan, a musician, said he is not surprised at the accusations launched by Langley. Because Colin Powell lied, Iraq was destroyed. Barack Obama lied, Gaddafi was killed. But this time, their lies won't affect us. That's why we tell them, we're not against them, but we are against predation and economic slavery, he said.
About Congo, I'm talking about the whole Africa. We are tired of being exploited. The time is now for us to unite and fight for our minerals.
The world is coming out to show immense support to President Ibrahim Traore for a number of reasons. From streets of Ouagadougou, through various streets around Burkina Faso, plus rising alarms around the world, most especially youths are peacefully protesting against coup attempts against the captain. These furious Pan-Africanists want the world to hear their binding voice of a need to protect President Ibrahim against any coups. But why are Africans coming out to massively shout loud for protection of President Ibrahim Traore? Ever since President Ibrahim Traore's rise into power, surviving in life, in a nutshell, and navigating challenges and adapting to change while maintaining the needs of Burkina Faso and building strong relationships have been prevailing. His leadership has not been about just existing, but thriving and working in the face of adversity. With these instances allegedly coming out, Africa, most especially youths, are coming out to ring far-reach alarms in declaration of support for the precious captain. The rift between President Ibrahim Traore and destabilizers seems becoming serious, while his work for Burkina Faso is becoming more significant with no need for interruption. Africans are becoming increasingly more concerned about never-ending coup attempts against President Ibrahim Traore. What does this mean? Africa's sovereignty faces challenges stemming from its history of colonialism and the legacy of externally imposed borders, which continue to impact governance and economic development. Additionally, concerns about the loss of sovereignty within regional integration efforts and the influence of external actors like international lending organizations raise questions about African nations' ability to fully control their own destinies. At the beginning of the 21st century, Africa, according to the United Nations Commission for Africa, stood as the poorest, the most technologically backward, the most debt-distressed, and the most marginalized region in the world. African nations are now forming new and emerging powerful alliances that hold the ability to alter the established global order. The implication of what constitutes sovereignty across much of Africa, especially south of the Sahara, has changed tremendously over the years. These has been shown by emergence of new Pan-Africanists who are willing to cut the chains that have all been tied around the continent. President Ibrahim Traore is looked at as leading an immense revolution aimed at Africa's attainment of sovereignty. As the transformation of the sovereign across Africa, with the transfer of political power from the former colonial authorities to African-led governments, which was an exercise that ensured that sovereignty was still covertly exercised by the former imperialists, through exercising control over the means of production, education and commerce, technology and even the arts, has shown few signs of success. These new revolutionists want to change all these. President Ibrahim Traore, together with colleagues in the Alliance of Sahel States, have shown the continent that Africa can attain sovereignty and simultaneously transform for better. These leaders have shown that leadership is about care and transformation, not about using power to put a nation at a crossroads. Understanding that a nation needs you, the leader, to know that every sector of the nation needs progress is what shows that a leader cares, is what Africans have been yearning for. Ever since President Ibrahim Traore's rise into power, rapid transformation has prevailed in Burkina Faso, a thing which Africans don't want to wake up missing, especially continuing coup attempts against the captain. Indeed, Africa is at the edge of the need to work on its all-long prevailing challenges, such as conflicts that have stagnated economic growth and development of the continent. Conflicts on the African continent have had far-reaching negative impacts, affecting human lives, economies, and the environment. These impacts include displacement of populations, economic losses, reduced social development, and the destruction of infrastructure. Additionally, conflicts have exacerbated existing inequalities, undermined governance, and hindered long-term development. Involving militant groups, including a number of terrorist groups, rising Pan-Africanists, for this case, President Ibrahim Traore, have come out to change this song. What has annoyed these emerging Pan-Africanists is that why international peacekeeping organizations have failed to combat spreading conflicts on the continent. Hence, they have decided to shift to Russia, China, and Turkey, among others, a thing which the West says is harmful for the continent. No matter all these, President Ibrahim Traore has managed to thrive through all the coup attempts against him.